then I'll be downstairs.
Okay. Okay, we will get started. Thank you for coming. Grab some food if you haven't. The tacos are chicken and beef. We don't know what's what, but we also have beans and rice, veggie, and then salads. So don't leave with an empty belly, please. My name's Abby. I'm super excited to share that as of yesterday, I'm an official United Way employee. Woo-hoo! I know pretty much everyone in here, and you all mostly know me for years now, but it's official. I finally have a United Way email. You can actually email me now.
I'll be sending an email after this, like, hey, welcome back.
Yeah. So super happy about that. A lot of y'all have come to my lunch and learns in the past. We usually do like 4 or so a year, 3 or 4 for United Way staff. So today I'm going to teach you our Avoiding Financial Exploitation for Older Adults curriculum. This is a course that we typically teach over at the senior centers in Albuquerque. It's not only for seniors or older adults or elders. I kind of use all those words interchangeably. It's not only for those folks, like all of us are getting scammed all the time, right? So this is good for everyone, but there is most of those geared towards elders. We're going to start with a pre-test. So if you don't mind, scan the QR code. We'll take the same. And it's to evaluate us, me as an instructor. It's not too much anything for your knowledge. A few minutes. Go do that thing. I was like, exactly. Makes it all. Okay, looks like everyone's good, yeah? Okay, sweet. So today we'll talk about what is financial exploitation, investment in IRS solicitations. We'll talk a little bit about telephone and internet scams, general identity theft, and medical identity theft. That was new to me before I started researching elder exploitation, so it's kind of interesting. And then finally, we'll wrap up talking about planning for unexpected life events. So first, let's get our terms straight. What is elder financial exploitation? fraudulent or otherwise illegal, unauthorized, or improper act of an individual that uses the resources of an older person. That's the main part. It's utilizing resources of an older person. It can happen to anyone, right? But we're talking specifically about elder exploitation. Elder exploitation is also actions that result in depriving an older person of access to or needs of their benefits, resources, belongings. So anything that's kind of creepy towards elders, especially trying to get access to their money or resources, is all considered financial exploitation. So who's at risk? Everyone. Unfortunately, elders are financially exploited across all race levels, across all socioeconomic levels, education levels, everyone, even playing field for these creepy scammers. So don't think, well, my grandparent doesn't have a lot of money, so my grandma's safe. That's not true. Everyone is kind of an equal target, unfortunately, with elder financial abuse and financial exploitation. So why? Why are our elders at risk? Number one, they typically have regular income and assets. All of us are, I would say, relatively engaged with the world around us. Gen Z has like no assets. Millennials, we have negative assets. The baby boomers, right, they do have a lot of wealth and assets overall. So that's, if I'm a creepy scammer, I don't want to go for a millennial. I would definitely want to go for someone who maybe has like a couple properties and some retirement accounts and a pension, right? Some older adults are trusting and polite. They could be lonely, socially isolated. Maybe they're grieving the loss of a partner, friend, spouse, whatever it is. Are often care for people. So they are just kind of used to, sorry, Imelda's doing pictures and videos for B-roll for our Instagram page. If you're not following it, you should. I totally forgot you were going to do that. I'm taking my picture. Okay, so we'll let her do her thing. But yeah, elders are pretty used to having other people take care of them, right? So if someone's calling them and saying, I need your account number, they might think that that's just part of their overall care. A big one, especially like for me, my grandma, the last few years of her life, she was super cognitively impaired, like real bad. So unfortunately, someone who maybe has memory issues or has some impairments in their cognition is a really easy target. So that's why we want to focus on older adults for this course. Yes, please. Okay, so here's just a few examples. Scammers are always a step ahead of us, regular people, right? Non-scammers. So there's tons and tons and tons of different scams. These are just some of the big ones. A lot of us have probably heard about the grandparent scam or the romance scam. We have a lot of investment fraud going on with elders, debt collection scam, text scams, phishing, skipping, all of this stuff. So remember, everyone's elders are playing field here. I just want to let you know there's many ways that these creeps try to do that. When I say creeps, I mean scammers. Yeah. So first is romance scams. So a romance scam is basically when someone is, love bombing you. I love you. You're the best. I've never met anyone like you. Hey, can you give me $5,000, please? Right. So romance scams, they really try to pull on those heartstrings and like form that romantic and intimate connection with you or your grandparent or elder or whoever before they start asking you maybe for it might small. Can I my car to go to work, but it will get up here. Romance scams typically happen online, but they can happen in person. It's a lot easier to do it, I would think, online. So you never have to meet the person. You can just message them when you're bored, but it does happen in person too. So if your loved ones mention, you know, like maybe they're chatting with someone, if someone's like getting a little romantic, you know, we don't fall in love with people online. That's like an okay boundary to set with your elder. Is we don't love people online. We can have online friends, but it's not really a great place for romance and intimacy. So in 2023, there were 64,000 reported romance scams. But I think, sorry, I just want to text, there's a figure here. Romance scams is up 50% since 2019 and has increased over 400% since 2016. So some folks that might be more maybe susceptible to a romance scam is someone who's single, but especially if they're grieving the loss of their previous romantic partner. That could be from last week or 10 years ago, right? But people that are more vulnerable are definitely those going through grief. And scammer creeps will look at the obituaries to find out whose spouse just passed away, see where they can slide in. So like these people are really, the scammers are very sophisticated and smart. Think of things that non-scammers, you know, we're like, why would you ever do that? It's so yucky. But that is their behavior. Okay, okay, next is investment fraud. That's still called the securities fraud. This is a really wide range of, it's kind of an umbrella term, but it means any kind of investor that's trying to manipulate the financial market to get access to your elder's money. So things to think about is like Ponzi schemes, financial advisors that won't share their credentials with you. That's a big red flag for everyone. Even if you're not elder, you should think about that. There's a lot of affinity fraud, especially the last couple of years. I've kind of seen it, at least in my sphere more. That's where scammers will target people of a specific community. So they might like email blast everyone at the same synagogue, asking them to donate to that synagogue. It's not true. Right, so they'll try and find groups of people. It might be like a mom's group or a book club or a military group or veterans. So just be aware anytime like an external organization is directly asking you for money. I mean, a lot of times they do, but be aware, talk to other people in that community to see if they've got similar stuff. And then, of course, there's like the classic, oh, if you invest, you know, $5,000 today in 1 year, that's going to grow to 100,000. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. So just encourage your older folks to shy away from those. So here's some safeguards. We want to provide kind of like what this scam is and then how to protect your loved one. Safeguards for investment fraud. Just check the background of your financial advisor or your loved one's financial advisor, right? You can go to brokercheck.finra.org right here. If you want to see if they're a registered investment advisor, it's also a good idea just to like go to the website. Manager at the Wells Fargo on Central, you can go to that website and like see who works there, right? So just do your research. If you're going to invest money online right now, face to face, make sure that you know who you're talking to. For now, you can consult the CFPB, the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. It's still around as of today, so it's a good resource. That one is like on the chopping block, so we're just keeping our eye on it, but it's a resource we love. Okay, so FDIC insurance, that's important because a lot of our investments, actually all of our investments, are not insured by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. So like if you have money in any of these accounts, checking, savings, money market, or a CD, you're covered up to $250,000 per person per category. So like if Imelda and I had a joint bank account, a joint savings account, for example, we would be covered each $250,000 for me, $250,000 for her. That's for that one account. Now, let's say that Imelda and I are like multi-millionaires, right? Girls can dream. So we would want to have multiple accounts at multiple banks because you're only insured, in our case, it would be that 500,000. If we were opening accounts on our own, it'd be 250,000. So if you have some people with like higher liquid assets, make sure that they're not going over the limit. It just means they're not insured. They're not guaranteed that money.
I just want to say one quick thing. All of that she just said is about banking institutions that work with the FDIC to have all that kind of stuff. Chime, all that kind of stuff online, none of that.
Chime, Cash App, all of those FDIC insured, not a real bank. We see that with our taxpayers a lot, especially the younger crowd. We're like, hey, what account do you want your refund deposited? And they're like, Chime. So we try and do a little education and let them know, hey, that's not a real bank. Okay, so the next scam, we've probably heard this. The news loves to talk about this one because it's kind of like a freaky, scary one, but the grandparent scam. So what happens is a lot of older folks will get phone calls and they'll be like, hey, grandma, it's me, Abby. I'm in trouble. Please, I need you to wire me $10,000. Don't tell mom, I'm in jail. I'm in a lot of trouble. Like I'm in the wrong crowd. Please, grandma, please, just send me the money. I need it right now. And if you're a grandma, you're going to be like, oh my God, I need to get her this money and, take it. No, it's a scam. So they might know your name. They might disguise their voice and they're just going to say we need the money now. Say it now. Don't tell anyone. Because they don't want, in this case, my grandma, mom, for example, be like, have you heard from Abby? It sounds like she's in trouble. She needs $10,000. My mom's gonna be like, no, I've talked to her yesterday. She's totally fine, right? So
She's sitting next to me.
Exactly. Yeah. So they want to get you panicked and have you act fast. So that is a big one. Thankfully, a lot of older folks have heard about this because it's on the news a lot. So they are a little bit aware that this is happening. Yay, IRS scams. These are our favorite. So here's what will happen. The IRS will call you and say, hey, you owe us money. And my name is Officer Slister, and my IRS badge number is blah, blah, blah. They might know the last 4 digits of my social security number. They might also send you emails. A lot of times they'll mimic a call site, so it sounds like a call center, and it sounds kind of legit. They will almost always threaten to take you to jail. Almost always. They'll threaten to take you to jail when you call. And then a lot of times they'll hang up and then call back and be like, this is the sheriff of Bernalillo County, and I'm coming to your house right now because you didn't pay your IRS bill. And you're going to freak out when you get that call, right? Or your grandparent will. Jeffrey, Imelda, and I say this every single day. In tax season, the IRS will never call you. The IRS will never call you. The IRS will never call you, ever. They're not going to call you, your grandma, your grandpa, your mom, dad, brother. No, the IRS, they don't have phones over there, guys. I don't know if you realize they don't even have phones. So anytime someone's like, oh yeah, the IRS called, they did not. The IRS, when will they call you, Imelda? Never. Every day, we tell every taxpayer that. The IRS will never call you. They'll never email you either. The IRS will only ever send you a letter. If you get a letter from the IRS, that's probably real, right? You should read it. If you're not sure, you can come see us downstairs. We can look at it for you. But the IRS will never call you, ever. They'll never call you. They're never going to ask you for payment over the phone. Why? Because they're never going to call you. Okay? They're never going to ask you to email them your bank account info or something. Why? Because they don't email. The IRS has no phones or computers. I say they just have typewriters where they type everything up and mail it to you. It is crazy.
If you go to the IRS, any IRS office in America today, they still have fax. If you read a letter from the IRS, you still letters at the bottom, he gives you three choices. Email, the email is just government out there. Fax it, send it.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
The IRS is dated technology, sort of late 90s. Were they really using typewriters? No, not typewriters. They have.
I was a little bit.
But they-
It's like, you don't email them at all, so it's like, what the hell are you doing?
Start a rumor.
Yeah, that's like a security choice. But what's gonna happen coming up, I think, maybe during this tax season, but probably moving forward, the trend with the current way the tax system is working is to make it much more electronically streamlined. So no phones, no faxes, no texts, none of that. You can pay your taxes through Venmo and you can scan everything through your phone. Pretty much is where it's at. Now, so, but there's gonna be, I think this tax year is the first year they're gonna try and go paperless. So if you want you go, I want a refund and I want them to send me a check. SOL, you get a check. Got bank. Not doing that. If you want to send that check, they're gonna say, we don't take paper checks. You have to go to your bank account and say, that's Venmo. It has to be an electronic transfer of funds. Right, that's what we're headed. So it'll be a little bit different.
This tax season, like tax season, no. What has to have a direct deposit?
People if you're in your hospital.
Yeah.
The people that we deal with downstairs.
Or if you're in
Oh,
a
God.
rural town, like,
Yeah.
and don't have access to banks, like.
That's
Important. Or, and, like, have no computers at home.
It's rough. Wow. Okay, so when will the IRS call you?
Never.
Never. They're never gonna call you, ever. Ever. If you only remember one thing today, I want it to be that the IRS will never.
Got it.
And I'll tell you a true story, just real quick. Like 10 years ago, I was married to this dude from Jordan, and I came home one day from work. He's sitting there, he's on his phone, with his social security card in his hand. This is not an American person, so he doesn't know what's up. And I walk in to my husband, reading social security numbers on the phone. And I went, who is that? He's like, it's the IRS, I'm in trouble. Oh my God. So don't do it, right? It's not just older people. At the time he was like 25, so it's young people, right? And the people who do the IRS scams, I don't know this for sure. I'm just inferring, but I have heard from a lot of people that are immigrants. Once they get their social security card, they start getting the scam calls. So I'm pretty sure there's like some kind of database where somehow you can either legally or illegally see who's new in the system. And it's like, how would an immigrant know that, right? How would anyone from any other country know that the IRS isn't going to call you? So spread the word, people. If the IRS calls you and says that you owe taxes and you do owe, that's one, it's not the IRS, but you should just call the real IRS, which is here. If you don't owe taxes and the IRS calls you, you can report it to the Treasury Inspector General for tax administration here. But the easiest way, and you should do this anytime you or someone you know scam, file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission, FTC. Okay, I think we're done. Tax fraud. There are sweepstakes scams. Towards the end of my grandma's life, I think she got something like this from like some publishing company. It was like, hey, you read so many of our books, here's a check for a weird amount. It was like $7,138.19 or something like weird like that. And my mom checked it out and it was totally right. So the main thing to remember is you cannot win if you don't play. Right, well, with that about gambling, can't win if you don't play. Same as it was not like that. Weird amount of money. So, you know, she called my mom and she's like, hey, I got this weird letter from whatever, Penguin Publishers, and I won all this money. Isn't that great? And my mom asked, did you like sign up for it or was it a challenge? challenge? No, I just got the money. Yeah, it was fake. So just pay attention to that. Anytime someone calls you and says something's urgent or you have to do it now or you can't tell someone, that's not good, right? Okay, computer and internet scams. We're pretty familiar with this because we do a lot of IT training here, but phishing. Phishing is when you get an email that might look real or a text that might look real, but it's just trying to get you to like click something or share something, right? So it wants to look real. It wants to look like an email from Imelda to me, but maybe her name is spelled differently in the email, so I might not notice it, right? It's stuff like that. And then emails, that is when someone disguises their email. So maybe if I get an email from Imelda Martinez Nevarez, well, I know that's her last name's reversed. So that's probably something I might want to be suspicious of just because I know her. But they're getting really, really sophisticated. Several years ago, I think it was Bank of America was having this really bad scam problem where people were getting phone calls and on the caller ID it said Bank of America and it had Bank of America's 1-800 number and it was scammers. Wow. So I know, like, I always screen my calls. If you're not in my phone, I'm just not going to answer it, you know? But don't see like, oh, Bank of America is calling me or the IRS is calling me. I know who that is. Answer. It's just not a good idea because it could be.
You also understand that in the olden days, it was a legal thing to call and leave a message on something. If you called somebody and left a message, it was it could be a legal action. I notified them, right? That's not how it works anymore. So if you call somebody, it's no longer a legally obligational thing for them to for your phone call. People don't have phones. People don't check their phone messages. I know people of certain ages that have never been on the phone in their lives that I can figure, right? They're not calling anybody back ever, right? And they're not checking their messages. So if somebody's calling you doing something that has legal ramifications, right? The phone is the least legal way to do it. So if you are saying, I am trying to impose a legal action on you, form something that you need to be legally notified of, you owe taxes, you owe this, here's some money you're due, all these kind of legal things. The phone is no longer a legit mechanism for legally conveying information, right? So if they are calling you on that phone, by definition, to do a sort of legal conversation or messages like that, if they say, this is the sheriff's office, you have to call us back, there's no legal obligation for you to call them back anymore. There's no legal obligation for you to listen to the message. So there's no legal way for them to enforce the fact that they're fine. If they're calling you on the phone, they're not committing a legal act. How do you say it?
It's not legal notice.
Yeah, legal notice. You're not checking the box that says, like the people who serve papers, right? You can't just throw the paper on the guy's porch and leave because he may have moved, he doesn't live anymore. People who serve papers have to go they have to do that, right? Because that's a legal method. There are methods for notifying somebody legally about, you owe money, you owe this, you're going to court. The phone is not one of them. You cannot do that on the phone. So if somebody's trying to do that on the phone, it couldn't be legally enforced in a court of law later. So you see what I'm saying? So if they're trying to do that, you can go because there's no legal ramification.
Yeah, anytime I've picked up the phone, if it's like something weird that they're trying to do that, I just tell them to send me a letter. Hey, can you just mail it to me? And they always say no, and it's like, oh, then it's not real, you know. Just mail me the bill. That's how I do it. So here's a couple examples of phishing and spoofing. These are from my phone. These are texts I've gotten pretty recently. So June 5th, some random phone number texts me, do you want to come out? Do you want to come out dinner tomorrow? I'm making seafood and steak. And so I get this and I'm like, who the hell is this? This person probably wants me to reply, who the hell is this? Or sounds great, or what kind of seafood, right? Because they just want to like see if my number is real and functioning. Instant block. Here's another one I got. Hey, Davis, there's a great new Chinese restaurant in my neighborhood. Come by and try the flavors when you're free. First of all, that's a really weird way to invite someone out to dinner. Come by and try the flavors. Weird. Never say that. It's weird. But also, hi, Davis. So I'm thinking they want me to reply, wrong number.
Right.
This isn't Davis. Sorry. No, instantly blocked. Anytime you get those, just block them. I got one when we were just sitting here
Yeah.
practicing for the thing that said, I can't remember, hey something, that's not my name. Can you spare a moment? Instant block. I don't know who you are. I've got, when we talked about the tax scams, if you're signed up for the scam of the week, Imelda just got this email today, the scam of the week, there's a tax smishing scam. So in the state of California, basically, the finance tax board, who's the state tax agency, has been leaving messages that claiming that people's tax refunds have been approved and instructing them to go to this link to get your refund. It's a scam. So this has just happened today. Okay, some general telltale language for those: email, text, Facebook message, whatever scams. We suspect an unauthorized transaction on your account. To assure your account is not compromised, click the link below to instead of just going to bankofamerica.com and logging in my account and fixing it on their side. See what I'm saying? You always want to go to the source. Here's another, click here to update and verify your information. Again, why would I click on that if I could just go to the website and do it? Our records indicate your account was overcharged. Call us to receive your refund. Right, that's a big thing. Because if you get an email saying you got money waiting, you're going to want to check that out. I get a lot of like fake ones that will be a random, just like keyboard mash at gmail.com. And it will say, thank you for your purchase. And then it will be like a screenshot from PayPal. It's always like $8,000. Every time I see that, I freak out and I open my PayPal. And I go in there, I'm like, okay, thank God $8,000 didn't come out. I'm good. Delete and block the person. But it's good to check, right? Like if you are getting that scam, it's a normal thing to be like, oh my God, did someone really steal $8,000 of me? Fine, and just go check it, but in the proper channels, right? Okay, so a few safeguards for computer, internet, and phone scamming. Use a good software and update it regularly. Don't email your financial numbers to anyone ever. There's almost no reason to ever do that. Always be cautious about opening something. Even if you know who it is, right? If it's from Imelda Martinez Nevares, I should be a little bit weary of that versus Imelda Nevares Martinez. Turn your computer off when you're not using it. Don't let like any random person on your computer, right? If someone's like, can I just check my email real quick? Yeah, it's the public library, not on my computer. A big one, don't rely on caller ID to tell you who's calling. Because remember, the scammers are always a step ahead of us. And they figured out that thing with the Bank of America, which is a pretty major bank. So just be aware, even if it says someone's calling, you never really know. And then you can go to onguardonline.gov for more info about how to protect yourself.
Hey, Melba, when somebody asks us to email them their tax return, what do we do?
Oh, it's like a whole thing where we use DocuSign type thing, like something to kind of safeguard their information. It's like password protected, all that stuff. You can't have that stuff just floating around.
And the United Way program, software program, if we send somebody's name, their address, their social security number, or something like that in his email, system blocks it. Our system's watching that. So we can't physically, our system has good enough security level to where if we just in a random email, it notes that we have a name, an address, a social security number, a phone number, it'll block like that.
Mhm.
So we're lucky enough to have a service or system that does that. But if we were just a mom and pop tax service down on the corner, and people were calling us asking to see our tax returns, they had a open Wi-Fi right there. I could sit in the van out in their parking lot and just get tax return after tax return after tax return after tax return. Not email that kind of information. If you don't have to, it's a big deal.
Security I take my social security online. That's what your login is when you go to ssa.gov. So the best way to safeguard yourself or your loved one is to just open up your own My Social Security, and you can do that anytime. I'm pretty sure as soon as you start working, you can open it. So even if you're decades away from receiving Social Security, you should still at least like open the account so that no one else can do it using your name and Social Security number.
You should just have that as your financial literacy package.
Yeah, it's just good. I mean, I have my Social Security, my non-Social Security set up. I don't look at it. I'm in my mid-30s. Like, there's no reason, but I just have it opened up so that no one else can open it in my name. General identity theft, that's when these scam thieves will steal your personal info, maybe use your identity to like open up a credit card or take out a loan or file taxes. You don't need a whole lot of info to steal someone's identity. It's actually kind of crazy. I know I see like everyone's everything all the time, but really all you need is someone's social security number, birthday, and name. Those are like the main things you need to open up an account. If you can get their credit card or account number, that's great, and even better if you have access to their PINs and passwords if you're a scammer. So just protect yourself, protect your elders and your loved ones too. Okay, so who can help? Well, the Social Security Administration will help you. They send you a letter after you set up your My Social Security being like, hey, thanks for signing up. So if you get that letter and you didn't open the account, you should directly contact the Social Security Administration. Okay, if you're the victim of identity theft, there's a few things you should do. One, you should place a fraud alert with the 3 credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Request copies of your credit reports from Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. I know a lot of you took our credit class. I think that was last year we taught credit. So you may remember this, but it used to be you could get all 3 of your credit reports for free once a year. That's no longer the case. Once a week. Once a week, you can see all 3 of your credit reports. So that was a big thing that happened in 2020. It was just supposed to be like through that COVID period. And then Congress extended it into 2021. And then the president signed off on it like earlier last year. Joe Biden did. So it's actually every week they did like 0 PR for that. So spread the word. You can make an ID theft report at identitytheft.gov. And then definitely put a security freeze on your credit report. I actually recommend everyone just put a security freeze on their credit report. It used to cost $5 to freeze every one, so 15 for all 3, and then $5 each to unfreeze. So like, for example, if you were trying to get a car loan, it would cost you about $30 just in credit fees. No more. It's all free. It's all free. It's all free. So you should freeze your credit. That is the single best thing you can do to protect yourself from identity theft. It's really easy. You just go to Experian.com, Equifax.com, TransUnion.com, 3 credit bureaus. Scroll down, maybe like middle of the page or so, you'll see a thing that's like, click here to freeze your credit. You make an account, freeze it, and you can unfreeze it whenever you want. It's really easy. I did it years ago. It's maybe like 10 minutes total. your parents and elders about freezing their credit reports, because again, they're the ones with the assets. Yeah, I think I jumped ahead on this one, but here's your checklist for identity theft. You gotta go to identitytheft.gov, contact the 3 credit bureaus, file a report with the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC. You can contact your institutions and lenders, like especially if they opened an account somewhere else, I would call them. And then you can also make a report with APP. Okay, medical ID theft. This one is crazy to me. As I mentioned at the top, I just learned about it researching for this presentation. So it's pretty wild, but it's where someone steals your personal info and your Medicare number to use that to get prescriptions, doctor's visits, all the way up to major surgeries. I was reading testimonials online of elders who had their Medicare number stolen and somebody was getting like major invasive surgery under their number, and then that person was getting the bill for hundreds of thousands of dollars. So they'll use it up to major surgeries. A few risks of medical ID theft. It is costly to correct in money and time. Has anyone ever paid for a doctor's bill when you were there in the doctor's office before you left? You paid your whatever, let's say $120. And a few weeks later, you get a bill for $120. Have you ever tried to call them and tell them I already paid this? It's insane when it was you and you did pay and you have the receipt, you have all the proof. It is really, really hard to fix that issue. Now imagine if you get a bill for $750,000 saying that you had open heart surgery and you didn't. See what I'm saying? So with your elders, make sure that their Medicare card is like under lock and key. They don't need to be waving it around. People love to show us their Medicare card at the tax. Like, I didn't bring my social, but here's my card. And they wave it. You don't want to see it. Nobody should see that except for like you and maybe the receptionist at wherever you're getting care. So just like, please don't let your elder use their Medicare card as proof of social or proof of identity, because all the info is right there. Okay, a few warning signs. If you get a bill for something you didn't receive, right? For a prescription or a medication that you don't take, your family member doesn't take. If you get a call from a collection agency, again, saying, hey, you owe us for that open heart surgery. And your grandma's like, I didn't have open heart surgery. Anything you get from the insurance company, you should look at, right? Especially the explanation of benefits. Just read through all of that. But be aware, it is a thing that happens. Super freaks me out just thinking about it. So protect your Medicare and insurance card. Just keep it in the wallet, right? It does not need to come out. It doesn't need to come out at a tax site. It doesn't need to come out of the bus stop. Keep it in your wallet. Review your explanation of benefits to make sure that what's on there is the care that your person received. Tax Medicare card, don't care about that. And then always be aware of anything where they offer you like free equipment or services in exchange for your Medicare number. And then, of course, shred everything if you can. Okay, finally, we're going to talk about preparing financially for a disaster. This is good info to keep in mind for a disaster, but it's also good for your the older people in your life, just to kind of know where their documents are. When your elder passes, you don't want to tear through their house or apartment trying to find their birth certificate and social security card. So if you can kind of talk to your elders about having a safe place, maybe a shoebox or a drawer in their home that has all the important things, it's really helpful. I know my mom did that for my grandma last few years of her life. She just had a lot of memory issues and some cognitive impairments. So we kind of had, like a drawer at the front of her her, like living situation. That was all of grandma's important stuff, right? Bank account infos, checkbook, all of that, so that we all knew exactly where it was. My grandma lived to 93. She didn't need her passport. You know, she could barely get down to breakfast. So like she didn't need to know where her passport and that stuff was. It was really for us. So if you can have a designated spot for your elders, it will just make things easier, right? Whether it's something like a passing or just going to the doctor, they'll know where everything is. Protect your documents, make backups, make electronic copies. I always keep an electronic copy of my social and passport in my phone, just to, like, sometimes you just need it, you know? So it's good to just have a backup somewhere. Give a copy to your loved ones, or ask your loved ones for a copy if they are elders, so that they know where to find everything. One thing my mom did for my grandma towards the end of her life was had her fill out it. Well, didn't have her do it, but my mom filled out a spreadsheet with all of the online accounts she had, the username and password, everything from like banking to her Facebook account, right? So you just kind of want to know like where the info is. So if you can get that set up ahead of time, it's very helpful. So back up somewhere other than your home, right? Just in case something happens at home, and then just have a record of everything that you need. That's just good financial health too. Okay, so a few resources. You can contact the National Elder Fraud Hotline if you think that one of the elders in your life is being targeted. Even if you're not sure, if you're like, yeah, my granny keeps getting these weird phone calls from some guy named Dave, like, I'm not really sure, could be just a new friend or something, just call them, right? They can talk you through things. More questions to ask. So always just call the National Elder Fraud Hotline if you're unsure. You can call your police department or the attorney general in your state. You can also report to the Federal Trade Commission. And then if you suspect that an adult is being abused, neglected, or exploited, you can call Adult Protective Services. So it's just like CPS, but for adults. These are some resources that are available to all of us. That concludes our presentation.